where last week the President of the United States took a debate stage in front of 70 million Americans and refused to condemn white supremacists.
Not true.
And
not true.
I've talked with Breonna's mother, Tamika Palmer, and her family. And her family deserves justice. She was a beautiful young woman. She had as her life goal to become a nurse, and she wanted to become an EMT to first learn what's going on out on the street. And her life was taken unjustifiably and tragically and violently. And it brings me to, you know, the 8 minutes and 46 seconds that America witnessed, during which an American man was tortured and killed under the knee of an armed, uniformed police officer.
Look, and with regard to George Floyd, there's no excuse for what happened to George Floyd. And justice will be served. But there's also no excuse for the rioting and looting that followed. This presumption that you hear consistently from Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, that America is systemically racist. And that, as Joe Biden said, that he believes that law enforcement has an implicit bias against minorities, is a great insult.
All of these soundbites came from CNBC, by the way. You notice how she paused and pretend to be caring and sincere. I have a little background on Breonna. I can get it for you later. I don't have it right now, but I will get it. Oh, what a good woman. Amazing. Here is where Mike Pence break down the difference between the pandemic responses between Biden and the great white hope, Donald Trump.
It was 2009. The swine flu arrived in the United States. Thankfully, it ended up not being as lethal as the coronavirus. But before the end of the year, when Joe Biden was vice president of the United States, not 7.5 million people contracted the swine flu. 60 million Americans contracted the swine flu. If the swine flu had been as lethal as the coronavirus, in 2009, when Joe Biden was vice president, we would have lost 2 million American lives. His own chief of staff, Ron Klain, would say last year that it was pure luck that they did, quote, everything possible wrong.
Amazing. Amazing. It's interesting how the Democrats are so evil and such liars and desperate to control you, but yet there are people who would vote for them who claim to be Christians too, some of them. And yet they will vote for the Democratic Party. It's mind-blowing. And it's based on color and a false sympathy for black people. Here's where Kamala claimed to be a person of so-called faith, whatever that means, faith in Satan. Then she proceeded to agree with abortion. Watch this.
Joe Biden and I are both people of faith, and it's insulting to suggest
faith in Satan
that we would knock anyone for their faith. And in fact, Joe, if elected, will be only the second practicing Catholic as President of the United States. The issues before us couldn't be more serious. There's the issue of choice, and I will always fight for a woman's right to make a decision about her own body. It should be her decision and not that of Donald Trump and the Vice President, Michael Pence.
Amazing, right? A faith of Satan. There's no way, one iota, that you can have belief in God and support the death of the unborn children. It's just no way. And the woman is not killing her body, she's killing someone else's body on the inside of her. And it's not her baby, it's the man's baby. What the? But here's a compilation of Camilla's best argument. You're going to love this. Watch this.
When I look at their plan that talks about advancing testing, creating new PPE, developing a vaccine, it looks a little bit like plagiarism, which is something Joe Biden knows a little bit about. And I think the American people know that this is a president who has put the health of America first, and the American people, I believe with my heart.
And I want to add, but Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking.
I have to
I'm
weigh
speaking.
in. The reality is, Dr. Fauci said, everything that he told the president in the Oval Office, the president told the American people. Now, President Trump, I will tell you, has boundless confidence in the American people, and he always spoke with confidence that we'd get through this together. They said if the president didn't take the unprecedented step of shutting down roughly half of the American economy, that we could lose 2.2 million Americans. Want to raise taxes. They want to bury our economy under a $2 trillion Green New Deal, which you were one of the original co-sponsors of in the United States Senate. They want to abolish fossil fuels and ban fracking, which would cost hundreds of thousands of American jobs all across the heartland.
He will not raise taxes on anybody who makes less than $400,000 a year.
He said he's going to repeal the Trump tax cuts.
Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking.
Well,
I'm speaking.
It'd be important if you said the truth. Joe Biden said twice in the debate last week that he's going to repeal the Trump tax cuts. That was tax cuts that gave the average working family $2,000 in a tax break every single year. Senator,
that is
that's the math.
absolutely not true. That
Is he
tax
only
bill,
is he only going to repeal part of the Trump tax cuts?
If you don't mind letting me finish, we can then have a conversation, okay?
Please.
Okay.
Mama, amazing. That was amazing. So before I go back to the phone, my experts are here. Nick, my producer, better known as the ankle baby.
Yes. It's not a lie. I can't
James
deny.
Hake, better known as the good hair guy with the good hair, and also the host of the HakeReport.com, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. 9 to 11 a.m. after my show. And Joel, E. Blood, 30% white.
You can kind of see him. There you go.
Now we can say, yeah, come on over, Joel. What kind of, you got on your African shirt again?
No.
What is that? Hawaii?
This one has Africa, Hawaii, California, Los Angeles. I'm all over the place today.
Amazing. And Chris, you white.
Good morning, everyone.
See? Real white.
Pleasure to be here.
James used to speak that way when he first came. Now he gone black all the way.
Once you go black.
You can't go back. So what did you think of the debate last night? Who won, and what do you think of it?
I was pleasantly surprised with Pence. You know, it was all proper though. It was the whole debate really was. They had their notes. They didn't have notes in the last one, right? They had notes and they were writing down stuff. I'm like, they didn't have that in the last one.
I think Joe Biden did. Or
Did he?
He looked like he was
kept
looking down
down.
at notes or writing notes or
I guess
something. I can't remember.
That's what I must have thought there was no notes because I just saw Trump being
Yeah.
regular. But yeah, it was all like proper. I thought for a while I thought it was I was just like, man, you can't be following their format because it's just like question, answer, and Pence was just following along. But I was happy he was following along. He knocked it out of the park pretty much every time.
Amazing. And Chris, who won, and what did you think of the debate? The vice president debate last night.
Pence made a mockery of Kamala Harris. It was embarrassing. She looked terrible physically, and then her performance was terrible. I mean, it was Pence outclassed her in every way. He was cordial when he spoke to the moderator, but firm. Like when she tried to stop him, he would just plow right through her. And the same thing with Kamala Harris. He was never nasty or bullish or anything like that, but he just gave her straight facts. When he wanted to counter her, her point, he would just tell it like it is, and she would always say like, "Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking," and that just didn't fly. Pence was not taking any of it, and it just made her look stupid.
Yeah.
She sounded like a nasty, like substitute teacher, like some manager, and she looked bad, and Pence looked good.
Hake of the HakeReport.com. Who won, and what did you think of it?
Vice President Mike Pence won the debate, and it was. I hated the plexiglass. I know I'm not the only one here who hated the plexiglass partitions between these people. It looked like they were behind drum sets or something. And I don't like how the vice presidential debate is always sitting down. But anyway, Pence dominated both of those women. He was just, and like Chris said, he was just classy, calm. He looks like this guy named Wojak, that meme with a calm face, where it's just a drawing, but he totally looks like him. And he was just solid on everything. I wished that he was a little tougher on the race thing and didn't say, "Oh, it was awful what happened to George Floyd" and things like that. But he was still solid in his answers, and he just made her and Joe Biden look awful in comparison to him and President Trump. I understood why that's Trump's pick for vice president. Actually kind of for the first time, I see how solid of a guy he was. And I thought that he was going to be kissing up to the women a little bit, but he didn't really do that. He didn't do that at all, actually. He was a little bit of a politician in terms of him having a whole lot of discipline and not touching certain topics or casting doubt, for example, on the coronavirus numbers. But it was just nice to see how he defended himself really well.
Amazing. Joel, who won, and what were your impression of the debate?
Well, Mike Pence. Hold on, let me try to. Mike Pence definitely won. I was shocked, only because every time I see him, he just looked like he's just a body existing in the back behind Trump. I never even knew he had a voice or he could even talk.
He had a voice. That's so liberal.
And then when you see him just standing there, he just doesn't look like he has any boldness in him. So I was just shocked to see that, him speak the way he spoke. But not only that, he had complete authority over the women. So normally I wouldn't be, normally I'm not for the women kind of being involved in, in those kind of matters. But he totally had authority over those women. The moderator tried to get him to stop. He wasn't listening. And she had no authority in her voice, so he would kind of overrun her.
You're like, whatever.
Thank you, Vice President.
Right. And then Kamala tried to interrupt or whatever, or say her little blackness, and he wasn't taking that. So he just had full authority over the whole thing, which was shocking because I just didn't expect that from him. But it was last thing is what I liked is that, yeah, he had his little politician moments where he's like super cordial and everything, but he's also well versed in knowing how to debate. And I think that skill showed up, and he was able to do well with it.
Amazing. Did you like that little beautiful black fly in his hair?
Oh, my God.
I noticed that.
That fly was sent in by the deep state. That was sent in by Mossad or
That's
somebody.
the biggest fly I've ever seen.
And the crazy thing about it is that he was answering something about systemic racism. I didn't hear nothing about it because I was watching the fly the whole time.
Perfect distraction.
Oh, God. I wonder did his wife in the audience do like this? So eventually the fly left.
Right.
Yeah, it took off.
Once they cut back, it was gone. I was like, I wonder.
After it laid babies, it was there for like a good.
Started a family.
He has a head full of eggs this morning. Fly eggs. I was pleasantly surprised to see Pence be so manly last night. I did not expect that. I didn't know what to expect, really. Because like Joel, I thought Mike Pence he seemed to be a nice Christian and not the kind of guy that can stand up, especially to women, right? Mm-hmm. And I was really, really pleasantly surprised how he handled himself, handled those women, and just dealt with it. He didn't overreact. And So he definitely won last night. It's hands down. And I'm not surprised at Kamala because she just seemed to be. Last night I was thinking, this woman, not only does she not have a spirit of life, I don't think she has intestines in her. I think they took all her guts out and everything. I think she like just an empty shell. She doesn't even have guts, like a stomach or the body parts on the inside. I think she.
What makes you say this?
She's just
Go on.
a short-circuiting robot.
Yeah, I think somebody pressed a button and she moved. I don't think she even used the toilet because there's nothing in there.
A homunculus.
Yeah, a hot monkey, right?
She makes those smiley faces when Pence was like dominating her. She's like uncomfortable smiles. It's
Yeah,
so
she came in like that, and I knew she would.
I'm speaking, Mr. Vice President.
She is, and I love the way he dealt with that when she did that too. Tried to be a black mama, but he won. She is empty. It's something wrong with that woman.
Yeah.
It really is something wrong with her that's not out yet.
You can tell that she's insecure.
Very insecure.
Yeah.
Very insecure. One of the reasons I thought Mike Pence would be weak with the women, because I believe sometime back he said he would never be in a room with a woman by himself.
Right. Yeah, because
Without his wife.
to
Without his
avoid
wife, right?
that way you avoid
And so-
any appearance of impropriety.
Plus, I think he understands how women really are, and that's why he wouldn't trust them in a room by himself.
Yeah.
Because he know they can't be trusted.
Yep.
And so that kind of made me realize, wow, yeah, that's why he said that. He really understands how women are. And so maybe that's why he was able to just deal with them, with those two last night.
Yeah.
But he brought Kamala Harris home and gave her fried chicken. The thigh and the leg.
I know.
Dark meat.
Dark meat. He handled her like a champ.
Another thing that
I was surprised. I'm like, right on, Mike. High five.
I started clapping and
Yeah.
yelling as soon as the tax thing, because I mean, I was like getting a little worried there for a second when he was like, "Oh, your nomination as a woman is great," but then I didn't know what was coming.
Yeah, and
I didn't know he was about to end her.
right.
I was like, "Oh, I'm like yelling and clapping."
One thing about black women, and maybe black people, period, they love it. I come a long ways in life. All the way from slavery, all the way from Jim Crow.
first woman.
and everything
And
she
my
said,
mama
too.
had a hard time, and I made it in America. And I'm so sick of black people doing that. I don't know what to do.
And she was rattling off her little accomplishments.
Yeah, like, and
right, and then she kept trying to use the black stuff, like I was the first black woman to do this, or
Yeah.
and it made no points.
you should have asked her, "Are
That
you
don't
the
mean you
first
did it
black
good.
woman to lie?"
Right.
But it was amazing. Hands down for Mike Pence. I mean, you have to want to say it was Kamala.
I know.
You have to just want to lie and pretend. But inside, you know it was her. She did not win. What were you saying, Joe?
No, I was saying the thing that got it from me for Mike is when he brought up the swine flu stats versus the corona, and how he said that if when Biden was vice president, he said if the same situation had happened, and we played the clip, if the same with the same numbers, then 2 million people would have died the way that Biden handled it. And that was it right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, he cited somebody who said that they did everything wrong.
I know. and he said something about Biden was plagiarizing himself.
Plagiarizing, yeah.
Yeah, plagiarizing
About their
himself.
plan?
Yeah, they
She's like,
tried
it sure sounds like our plan. She's like,
There was something else he said. Oh, about her putting all the blacks in jail
Yeah.
when she was
Oh, yeah.
Attorney General in California. That's true. That's why the blacks don't like her.
Yeah, they hate her.
Yeah, because
They
she
do not
put-
support her.
Right.
Well, that's a interesting point. It's kind of like a double-edged sword. Whereas, like, I don't necessarily like to hear that point because I'm like, yeah, put them all in jail. That's fine with me. But it does make her look bad.
Yeah.
Because her side is all about like, oh, let every criminal go. There's no problems. And if she is not doing that, then that's a point that can be made up.
Yeah, and reportedly she had like knowingly kept innocent people in jail, or at least one guy.
She's married to a white man, right?
Yeah,
Who's
just
been
recently, within the last like few years.
Who has been married before with children?
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe.
Yeah, she has no children. You could tell.
So she has no body parts in there. I don't think.
Exactly.
I
She's
think
a
they took
robot.
everything out.
Yeah, I knew
I
that she
thought
was
her
going to be
lights were just out, right? But I don't think she has inside things.
If you take off her shirt and pull back her hair, you just see a big seam.
Yeah.
Like they sewed her.
And I'm sure that
And when
white
she
man.
falls apart, it's just bugs.
So I was wondering if that white husband tell her every morning she's wonderful.
Definitely. He
That's
was
all-
wearing a mask on stage too.
Yeah.
When he came up at
I
the
know,
was
I
the
saw
biggest
that.
mask
And trying to give her
you've
a
ever seen.
hug. What the Bible Go-To guy just texted me. He said, I like when he said, you can have your opinion, but you can't have your facts.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah, he
yeah, yeah,
repeatedly
yeah,
said
yeah.
that.
He said that a few times. That was a great
Right.
point.
It was like,
You should guys played the clip where he just shut her up. He interrupted her.
Yeah.
And she said, "Excuse me, I'm speaking," and then he just bulldozed right through.
I know.
but you got to say the
Because
truth
he-
or something,
he-
yeah.
he
What an
just shut her
ego
up.
trip. Like she said, I'm speaking.
I know,
Like you're
talking
supposed
to-
to stop. Okay, black mama, I'll stop and let you speak.
Talking to him like he's a child.
Yeah, yeah.
And another crazy thing that keeps getting brought up is that they always bring up the coronavirus. 210,000 people have died and stuff like that, right? But they never, right? It's like there was never any, and they use that against Trump, saying if Trump didn't act and so, right? But they're not counting the cases of people who died strictly and only from
Right.
coronavirus. But they use that against him. So when Pence said the whole swine flu, like these are the people who had it, so A, B, and C, it shut her down completely. And everybody can plainly see that.
Let me
that's a lie.
show you what I imagine she looked like this morning. After that, I'm sure she went home ticked. Show these two women. This is a Twitter user where he shares a photo showing two women side by side and showing a woman from the past and one from today. That's her from today. The one on the left, on my left, is from the past, beautiful, feminine, honest. And then the fat one with the homosexual colors on her, that's what Kamala Harris looked like this morning. She peed out.
She looks like she's gonna throw up.
She had so much guilt from losing last night, she doesn't know what to do.
I know. I read.
She ate up every hamburger. She even went to Michelle Obama's house, Big Mama house, and got some of her tamales.
Some of those ribs.
So what?
I read the far left female outlet, The Skim, that sends me an email every day of the news.
Yeah.
And they talked all about it. They didn't indicate who they thought who won,
I
right?
bet.
Because everybody knows that Pence won. And it's funny because her expressions are so phony and everybody knows that.
Yes.
And he's always so much more reserved.
Yeah.
But his facial expressions and body language was perfect.
Yeah.
Just debunking her.
Mr. Pence, Vice President Pence, I am proud of you, sir. You did better than the best baseball player. You brought it home, sir. Your wife must really be amazingly happy with you. I just love the way he just sat there, looked like he had a little grin on his face or something, like under the skin grin. A little smirk, like, I'm gonna get this one. This black bitch think she gonna get me, it ain't gonna work.
That's exactly what he was thinking.
Yeah,
and he
look
did.
like-
He did that.
He like, come on, black bitch, bring it home. All your little accomplishments. Thank you guys. My experts. I appreciate you guys. When I come back, your phone calls. Amazing. And don't forget to like, follow, tweet, subscribe, and share the Jesse Lee Peterson radio show, folks. We really appreciate it. We are at war. It is a spiritual battle for the soul of America. And it's going to take all of us to do it.